Welcome to our Middle East briefing show. Today, we've got some intriguing developments from the Middle East and beyond. First up, President Trump has rolled out a 20-point peace plan for Gaza, but it's causing quite a buzz. While he claims to be the peacemaker and has even brought in Tony Blair to oversee Gaza's transition, many critics are questioning whether this plan is more about boosting Trump's image than actually solving the conflict. Netanyahu hasn't fully signed on, and Hamas hasn't been consulted, so stay tuned. Next, in the world of business, Asian companies, especially in China, are shifting their supply chains from the US to Europe. ING reports a huge 47% surge in Chinese foreign direct investment in Europe this year, focusing on electric vehicles and batteries. Companies like CATL and BYD are building new factories, while others like Haier and Midea are expanding their European presence. This China Plus One strategy is all about diversifying sources amidst ongoing US-China tensions, quite the global game changer. Finally, a shocking incident in Michigan: a former Marine, Thomas Sanford, carried out a mass shooting at a Mormon church, killing 4 and injuring many others. What's even more eerie is that Sanford's mother posted a cryptic message just days before the attack, hinting at issues of accountability and twisted beliefs. Meanwhile, in diplomatic news, Colombia's foreign minister has renounced her U.S. visa in protest after the U.S. revoked Colombia's president's visa, an unusual move reflecting tense relations. Please continue to stay with us for the full stories. The Independent vividly illustrates how Donald Trump, in his recent peace plan for Gaza, has made the process all about his own image. Standing beside Benjamin Netanyahu, Trump declared a historic deal that aimed to create a security buffer zone and halt the ongoing conflict, all while positioning himself as the ultimate peacemaker. His self-promotion was evident as he claimed that European leaders were calling him to praise his efforts, and he eagerly took credit for orchestrating the deal, even suggesting that everyone involved had asked him to lead. Trump's remarks showcased a desire for personal legacy, with him describing his role on a board of peace as an honor everyone wanted him to undertake, despite the lack of concrete progress or consensus from key parties like Hamas or Israel. His announcement also included a theatrical moment where Netanyahu supposedly apologized to Qatar for a recent strike, further emphasizing the spectacle over substantive diplomacy. South China Morning Post reports on a significant shift in Asian investment strategies, highlighting how Chinese and broader Asian companies are reorienting their supply chains away from the US and towards Europe. This realignment is driven by the ongoing decoupling from the US, with Chinese FDI in Europe rebounding by 47% in 2024, especially in electric vehicle manufacturing, where giants like contemporary Amperex Technology and BYD are establishing factories in Hungary and Turkey. This pivot is part of a broader China Plus One strategy, aimed at diversifying supply sources amid rising costs associated with U.S. tariffs. The report emphasizes that over 2/3 of global trade now operates independently of the U.S., illustrating a major geopolitical and economic shift. Asian firms in electronics, pharmaceuticals, and automotive sectors are increasingly investing in Europe and Southeast Asia, with Alibaba expanding its data centers globally, signaling a strategic move towards digital and infrastructural growth outside traditional US-centric markets. BBC details the latest developments in the Gaza conflict, where Trump and Netanyahu announced a new US-backed peace plan that demands Hamas's immediate acceptance. The proposal calls for a ceasefire, the release of Israeli hostages, and the dismantling of Hamas's military infrastructure, with Israel poised to withdraw gradually from Gaza. Trump described the plan as historic, asserting that Netanyahu would have U.S. support to act decisively if Hamas refuses to comply. The plan also outlines the future governance of Gaza, proposing a temporary technocratic Palestinian authority overseen by an international board of peace, headed by Trump himself, with Tony Blair among the potential members. While Hamas has expressed openness to considering the proposal, they insist that any settlement must safeguard Palestinian interests and ensure a full Israeli withdrawal. The announcement comes amid ongoing tensions, with Israel continuing its military campaign in Gaza following the Hamas-led attack that resulted in over 1,200 deaths, and a UN report accusing Israel of genocide, which Israel vehemently denies. The Boston-based Harvard University finds itself at the center of a contentious political battle as the Trump administration intensifies its efforts to cut off federal funding. The Department of Health and Human Services has initiated proceedings that could render Harvard ineligible for all government contracts and funding, citing allegations of discrimination and harassment against Jewish and Israeli students. This move follows a referral by the Office for Civil Rights, which accused Harvard of failing to address these issues adequately, and is part of a broader campaign by the administration to leverage federal influence to enforce ideological and social changes at American universities. Despite Harvard's insistence that it is committed to combating discrimination, the university has faced legal challenges and criticism, with some judges condemning the administration's actions as an ideological attack disguised as anti-discrimination enforcement. In a striking diplomatic development, President Donald Trump announced that Sir Tony Blair, the former UK Prime Minister, would serve on a new International Board of Peace, tasked with overseeing Gaza's transition following a proposed ceasefire. Trump's plan envisions a rapid end to hostilities, the release of hostages and prisoners, and the deployment of a multinational stabilization force to support Gaza's rebuilding. Blair, who has long been involved in Middle East diplomacy and served as a Middle East envoy, expressed optimism about the plan's potential to bring peace, emphasizing its comprehensive approach to ending years of suffering. The plan also proposes a temporary governance structure for Gaza, led by an international body with oversight from Trump, explicitly excluding Hamas from any role in governance, and leaves the door open for a future Palestinian state if reforms are implemented. Meanwhile, the UK's legal authorities are hunting Goran Assad Jalal, a fugitive linked to both a construction fraud at heart of Midlothian Football Club and a large-scale people smuggling operation. Jalal, a British national of Kurdish origin, was charged with fraud in connection with the football club but has never faced trial, as he remains at large in Iraq. He is also suspected of masterminding a criminal network responsible for smuggling Kurdish migrants into the UK, with evidence suggesting he played a leading role in a series of trips that brought vulnerable migrants across the Channel. Despite being placed on UK sanctions and the subject of arrest warrants, Jalal has evaded capture, with authorities vowing to continue their pursuit. His criminal activities, spanning from financial fraud to human trafficking, highlight the ongoing fight against organized crime, with law enforcement agencies determined to bring him to justice. BBC reports vividly on the Irish presidential election debate, where candidates passionately discussed Ireland's future amid a backdrop of national symbols and social issues. Catherine Connolly, backed by left-wing parties including Sinn Féin, emphasized her commitment to a united Ireland, having met communities across the divide and promising to use her voice to foster unity. Heather Humphreys, proud of her Ulster roots, highlighted her belief in striving toward a united Ireland and spoke about the importance of cross-border cooperation and dispelling myths, especially regarding the Irish flag amid anti-immigration slogans. Jim Gavin, a Republican and a supporter of the Good Friday Agreement, pledged to build relationships on both sides of the community, emphasizing inclusivity and representing every section of society. The candidates also addressed sensitive topics like the use of the Irish flag by anti-immigration groups, with Gavin and Humphreys defending its symbolism, while Connolly condemned the "Ireland is full" rhetoric. All candidates agreed to accept their presidential salaries, with some pledging to redirect portions to community projects or pensions, and they expressed diverse views on Gaza, advocating for peace, condemning war crimes, or supporting Palestinian rights. The debate underscored their shared vision of a united Ireland and their roles as unifiers, with the election set to be decided through a proportional voting system. The Independent recounts a chilling prelude to the Michigan church shooting, where the alleged gunman's mother, Brenda Sanford, posted an eerily cryptic message on Facebook just days before the attack. The post, which has since been deleted, spoke about someone in her life refusing to take accountability and twisting everything, hinting at underlying tensions and frustrations. Thomas Sanford, a former Marine with a history of ranting about Mormons and opposing COVID-19 restrictions, carried out a violent rampage at a Mormon church in Grand Blanc, Michigan, killing 4 and injuring others before being shot dead by police. His motives remain unclear, but reports suggest he was a Trump supporter and held extreme views, including anti-Mormon sentiments. The post's ominous tone, coupled with Sanford's background and violent actions, paints a disturbing picture of a man driven by deep-seated anger and conspiracy theories, highlighting the tragic consequences of unchecked hostility and mental health struggles. The Independent details the tense diplomatic fallout between Colombia and the United States following President Gustavo Petro's protest at the UN against the war in Gaza. In a symbolic act of defiance, Colombia's Foreign Minister, Rosa Villavicencio, publicly renounced her U.S. visa in protest after the U.S. revoked Petro's visa for his outspoken stance, which included calling for an international army to intervene in Gaza and urging U.S. soldiers to disobey orders deemed unjust. This move underscores the escalating diplomatic strain fueled by disagreements over drug policies, regional security, and U.S. military presence in Venezuela. Petro's bold protest, wearing a keffiyeh and urging soldiers to disobey, drew swift retaliation, with the U.S. citing his reckless actions. Villavicencio's voluntary renunciation of her visa, a rare gesture, symbolizes Colombia's growing frustration and desire to assert sovereignty amid mounting tensions with Washington. Petro's own dismissive attitude about the visa revocation, citing his Italian citizenship, reflects his defiant stance against what he perceives as unjust interference, marking a significant moment in Latin American-U.S. diplomatic relations. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.